we're going to do a quick supplemental video because we didn't get a chance to get to it in class, showing the new way of doing water systems and therefore deforming terrains for water systems instead of Unreal. And then we're going to dive also into first we'll dive into the environmental light mixer to show you how to create a dynamic sky with volumetric clouds from scratch. So we're going to start with making sure that we go to plugins, to settings, plugins, and then make sure we have the water plugin turned on. I've gone ahead and enabled it, and if you haven't had it enabled previously, you will have to restart the editor. And then when you come back, let's just make a new map. I'm in a new map, but we can always say new level and choose a blank one. All right. And I'm going to go up to Window, and I want this thing called the Environmental Light Mixer. It's brand new, and it's a way of putting the details panel of all your environmental lights side by side. So you don't have to keep on switching back and forth on the details panel over here as you choose different lights. So this is a cool new little feature, and not only does it let you edit them side by side, but it lets you add them in. So there's some different settings. We'll just do the minimal. So let's create a skylight. An atmospheric light. This will be a directional light. Right, so the skylight is more of a global illumination, and the atmospheric light will be our sun. And the direction in which it is pointing will be where the sun is, reflecting where the sun is in the sky. I don't need to have two. I'm just going to do one for right now, one sun, and then you can always do a counter one to give to fill in the shadows, make it a little bit lighter, less intensity. I'm going to create a sky atmosphere. And then do volumetric clouds. And now you might be saying, well, you've done nothing. They're in there. You just need to kind of wake it up. As one of those things that might, of course, be fixed soon. Once you just shuffle it around, you see that these things are in here. And these are volumetric clouds and an atmosphere. And all these things are here side by side so that we can change the skylight intensity. So this would be the global illumination. We can make it a little different color. And then the directional light can add in a little intensity here and, shade those clouds. See where we have the sun there. Is it okay? Another cool little trick is that if you hold down Control and L, it helps if you have a Control button on your right side of your keyboard, like a full keyboard. You hold down Control and L and click in here. You actually get this little sundial, and you can actually dial in where you want the sun to be, and that can affect the color of your sky as well. So that's a really cool dynamic way of adjusting your time of day. All right, so we put on the time of day. Great. And let go of Control and L, and we have our time of day. That's awesome. And these clouds are all volumetric. I left a link in the syllabus, or I put a link in the syllabus to a quick tutorial on how to change some of these settings of volumetric clouds. Again, everything has details here. Feel free to play with them, but you see that this is fully volumetric clouds. Pretty cool stuff. And if you want to mess around with a couple more of the material settings, you could dive into some of these things, but they might be a little bit more advanced. To turn on some of these parameters, to adjust them, just click them on, and then you can start messing around and see if there's anything that can dial in the settings you want. Again, I would start with that short tutorial that's linked in the syllabus. That'll get you up and running in no time. But all of a sudden, but it already looks great. See, as we move the sun around with that Control L, it moves it around, and then again, you have all lights side by side, which is a really nice little feature. And boom, I have an environment already, the new way of doing it. And now let's do the landscape, the new way of doing it. We'll go up to Modes, Landscape. Immediately will give us this landscape. I'm not going to worry about editing it. I'm on my desktop, and this is fine. The one thing I need to change is Enable Edit Layers. So Enable Edit Layers. And I'll just go ahead and create. All right. In this project, I'd already selected a ground material, so the ground material came along with it. And I'm not really worried about sculpting right now. I've already shown that with the previous version of landscape. We get that idea. We're going to go straight into water. So I'm going to go back into select mode, and instead of making mountains, I'm going to make the valleys or the ravines for the water. If you just search for water with the water plugin turned on, you see that you have a couple of things you can take a look at. So, for instance, maybe we want to have an island. Bring in a little thing. Wait for the shaders to compile. And it should make like a little sea with an island in the center. Not seeing it just yet. Maybe go down. You see how it's and it makes the landscape for that. Now this water should be showing up. So we'll have that over there. We'll come back to it. Maybe it'll show up a little bit later on. I haven't ever tried that one. That was a little riffing on a live demo. But maybe also because it's an island, it needs an ocean. So maybe this is the opposite. It goes up. So let's just try that. Let's try doing a lake. And for now, let's get rid of the island and just show the lake. There we go. So let's start here, first of all. So this is really great stuff, right? It has nice shallow water. When you go in it, you're underwater, it gets murky. Right? So this is a fantastic new system. And the lake comes with a spline. Select it back on the icon. And we can add points to it, reshape it, move it around. Right? These are little Bezier splines. So there's little handles here. You can move it, change the curvature, add points to it. So you can see you have all these different features for just the tangent itself. If I select the thing itself, we can kind of go fast forward through our splines. All right, so I'm just skipping through them. All right, so there's multiple ways of selecting them. Let's see something. And again, the water has settings as well. If you go down here, you can jump into these infinite amount of settings you can mess around with. But for right now, it seems pretty cool by itself. So again, this is a lake. Let's get rid of lake. Let's maybe add in an ocean. And so that adds a kind of a spline on the outside of your stuff. It's compiling shaders down here. So maybe this is the correct way of doing it. This basically makes like a large island, like a large continent, right? And now we have ocean all the way into the distance. And then maybe if I want to do an island, let's riff here and say island. Bring it down. So yeah, this is how you do an island out in the middle of the ocean. Super advanced stuff. There you go. This fun stuff. So that's the ocean where I showed you a lake. Obviously you have rivers. All right, rivers go from one location to the next. All right, so you might have a lake right here that goes into a river once it gets done compiling. And, so this definitely takes a good computer to run. So I'm doing it for my desktop at home instead of the old laptop I was using in class. And obviously from here, you add in your foliage and everything we were doing before. Some nice things to notice is that there's our river came in. All right, let's take our lake, inch it closer. There you go. Infinite amount of settings, but we're up and running with like a really cool water simulation just to start off with. It's got waves and all that kind of stuff. All right, so the only thing I would take a look at would be let's see if we have it here. Let's go ahead and add in some fog. All right, so let's get rid of these search terms, and we'll go into environment, which will be visual effects, and we'll get in some height fog. And this helps like hide the edge of your scene, right? And the fog has some density, right? It can be really dense, so you really don't see anything beyond. And there's lots of settings again here. The start distance, so maybe we want the fog only to begin when you get outside of the island itself, so make it completely clear around us, and then it's much further off. And then when you get distant, then it can go away and hide that edge to your world. Even though the fog density kind of ends at 0.05, you can manually override that and put in like 2. And then look at that, you're like deep in the fog. And then I'm sure you could override all these values. All right, so fog is cool. It also can be volumetric. You turn it on, and now it has a little bit more depth to it. It's maybe a subtle difference, but it makes a difference when you start adding in like some cylinders. Let's scale these suckers up on all axes. There we go. Maybe just make it taller now. And then let's put a few of these side by side. All right. So there's some of those. Exponential height fog. Great, and I'm looking for one last setting. Let's see where it is. Let's see. But now you have this volumetric fog, you can start getting these light shafts. And that's what I was trying to find is light shaft occlusion. So I'm just going to search for the term. Let's say occlusion. And see if I can... There we go. There's a little occlusion there. So it's hiding behind and you can poke out. All right, that's really cool. Let's see if it's on some other ones. Exponential height fog doesn't have it. Atmosphere doesn't have it. Light shaft occlusion. That's what I'm looking for. So on my directional light, which is my sun, you click that button, and now you see that light shaft occlusion. Isn't that pretty cool? So that only works with volumetric. I'm glad I didn't give up on you folks. We figured it out. So yeah, you can start getting some really cool blooming going on with this occlusion. Cool. So that's the settings I wanted to show you in this new way of doing it. It's really cool. Yeah, environmental light mixer. It's up here in window, and then here, and then you got all your water bodies. So that's short and quick, but hopefully you'll find it useful to try this new system. Again, it probably needs a good computer to run, or at least to run this quickly. So you might want to check out a computer from your equipment room, or reserve a computer in the XR lab. All right, thank you.